Okay, and I'm really interested in when, like, looking at the beginning of you getting out of this and discovering all this stuff. You said that there was an anger that came up out of you, and that you felt a pain in your head, and that was like a significant moment for you. So tell me a little bit about what happened in that moment.
Now, when I became angry in my second depression, which is about 7 years ago, maybe a
Mm.
little longer, is I became angry like, no, not again. This can't be happening again. This severe pain was in my head. Momentarily, I thought my head was going to literally explode.
Mm.
And it was so severe, and all of a sudden, boom, the pain was gone, and my mind went completely clear. I was very, very clear. I did not want to die. Now, I'm going to be honest, I did not know what to do. I just knew I wanted to live. The Holy Spirit spoke very clear to me that night and said, Ray, nobody's coming to fix it. I'm like, okay, I kind of like that idea.
Mm.
If it's really
So it
going to
was back on
happen,
you. It was back on you to make a
it is
change.
really up to me. I
Yeah.
don't need to wait for anybody to come and do any certain thing.
Yeah.
Nobody has control of my future. Nobody has control of anything except for me. I'm like,
Right.
wow, this is kind of amazing. 3 days, 4 days later, I don't know. It was only a couple of days later. The Holy Spirit spoke very clearly against it, right? They were broken. They were empty. They
Mm.
could not give you what they did not have. When I really got a grip on that, it was probably one of the most transformation things that happened is what did I do? I had to go back, particularly with my father. My father left when I was 4 years old. I
Right.
had to change the meaning. My father did not abandon me. He did
So
not
okay, so
reject
you're
me.
talking about you're talking about the things in your life that you were blaming. You had to
Yes,
realize that that wasn't the source of the pain.
100%.
Right.
Because my depression really started when my father left my home, didn't give us support, didn't give us anything.
Yep.
The church that I was in didn't know what to do. They were clueless.
Yep.
My relatives didn't know what to do. So they didn't respond appropriately.
Right.
And so I grew up without a support system that made me very angry.
Right.
But went out looking for all kinds of ways, sex, drugs, and rock and roll,
Right.
trying to find some sort of fulfillment.
Right.
And so this was the beginning. And every single thought that I brought into my mind was my choice. So let me
Right.
be very clear. I'm not blaming my uncles, my brothers, or my dad, or anybody for how I thought. I 100% chose to give the meanings that I gave to life all by myself.
Right.
So I lost 30, 40 years of my life to anger, bitterness, rage, and depression because of the choices that I made of how I applied the belief of what happened to me.
Right.
Now,
So because you felt everything that happened to you was wrong, that was bad, so it
yes,
took the
100%.
responsibility away from yourself, and so then you felt like you couldn't fix it yourself.
Yeah, I was blaming everybody else. I was
Right.
100% blaming everybody else. When I stopped blaming and shaming other people, radically turned my life around.
Wow,
Now,
that's interesting. So can I
I'm
ask?
telling you, this is the number one key. I hope I'm not jumping ahead of you here, but
No,
the
that's
number
fine.
one key to healing:
Yeah.
stop blaming, stop shaming.
Well, can
That's
I
it.
ask? Yeah, I was going to ask you. You said the simple step is the hard process. So what is that?
Yes, yes. It's so simple, but it's so difficult. Is I have to stop blaming anybody for any reason for anything.
Yeah.
Now, I cannot imagine some of the pain that some people have been through. And I know some people have been severely abused, some people have been molested, and
Mm.
just horrific things.
Mm.
But I'm here to tell you the only way to bring healing is stop blaming and shaming.
Mm.
And here is the simple step, and it is so hard to do, is they were broken. They were empty. It wasn't you.
Right. So the
When you're
people who
able
are
to
hurting you are empty
broken,
themselves, and that's why they're hurting you.
yes. So what I do with all my clients anymore is I take a white coffee cup like this, very cheap. I buy them at a very cheap store.
Yep.
And I have them take a black marker and write every person's name on the cup that hurt them.
Yep.
We put it inside a paper bag and go out onto the sidewalk and throw it down on the sidewalk. I
Right.
have them come back in and take the broken pieces out of the bag and say, whoever's name was written on there, my father was empty and broken. He couldn't give me what he didn't have. My brother was empty and broken. He couldn't give me what he didn't have. Just go through each person and say out loud, confessing, they were empty and broken. They couldn't give it to me. It's a complete paradigm shift. So we're still looking for them to do what they didn't do. But when we understand they could not do it because they simply did not have it,
Right.
all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute. I can't blame. If I said to you, give me $1 million, and you're like, I'm sorry, Ray, I can't do that. I'm getting angry at you because you don't give me $1 million.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting angrier and angrier at you because, come on now, come on. I really need that $1 million. I said, oh man, I can't stand you anymore. Why? No, you can't give me what you don't have.
Yeah.
When I release you of them expectations, it doesn't change my life to release you from that. But what it does, it sets me free from being angry towards you.
Yeah.